Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. I am sorry my background hasn't really been very super calm like it used to be. Trust me, I'll be going back to base where we can have a calmer background. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about a video that I came across about a palm-colored man saying that it looks like Africans are invading them. So for that reason, there are going to be a founder of Blackwater, right, calls on the West to recolonize African and other developing countries. And a lot of black people aren't finding that funny because they feel like on Black History so they couldn't hold up what that has been pressing them all this while. So all these are all coming out on Black History Month. This really will tell you how they feel about my own people. And then why am I feeling this bad? I am feeling bad because our government have really decided they sold us out completely. Because if they did not sell us all out, all this won't be coming out. I mean, most of our governments are for the Westerners, and they are benefiting so much from the corrupt governments. And now what they are thinking is coming back to recolonize Africa like they left. You guys never left. You all have been here. You all have been stealing. You all have been ripping up Africa to this very moment. Boys, look at your mindset right now. You know what? Let's get into this video.
Then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You can say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually making their country better.
People on the left are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes. To put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing.
But when I say white people are the worst thing that ever happened to this world, I'm in the wrong. Of course, I would have something to say about this. I'm more angry, though, with black people, not white people. I expect that from them. I assume. I'm prejudiced. I assume that every one of them deep down is just like that. It's just frustrating that I know so many black people that will see stuff like this and still have zero fight in them. It's how people like this are able to continue oppressing you. We know what white culture is. We know that's just what they do. Despite years of what we've been taught, I don't think Africa is weak. I think Mr. Julius Malema, who I've been following heavily, is a very strong man. I think that Ibrahim, or I don't know how to say his name, the African leader that staged the coup or whatever and took over, started kicking bitches out, started kicking the French out and everything, very strong. And he's young. People don't want to fight. People don't have no aspirations. People don't believe in themselves. Some of us do, though. Some of us do want to fight. The people that fought over the years, they don't teach us about them. The Palestinians are beautifully resilient people. It's so frustrating and it sucks that they are the demographic being attacked by the whites right now. But that's genocide. Okay, that's martyring. That's not two opposing militaries. It's one military attacking POC, as usual. Make black people the target again. Start labeling us as terrorists. I can guarantee, I just know that I can guarantee that it will not go the same. There's too much of what the world needs in Africa, including its people. The only people still trying to convince others that Africa is this terribly underdeveloped place are white people. They started that was the whole point, so they can go in and steal. That's what they do to the entire world. That's like the entire point. That's white culture. And you know what? I even have a black friend that frustrates me so much because he's mixed with white. That must be what it is. But we always have this conversation where he asks, like, oh my God, do you really think if the world came together against America, they would win? Yes, I absolutely do. Fear is what keeps us at bay. People are pussy. People are scary. People don't want to lose their comforts. Black people can fight. Black people own weapons. Black people have been raised to defend or raised defending themselves. white culture is still attacking the world, still coming down on different demographics. I do believe that there will eventually be some community. Like, you have to believe, you have to manifest things like that. You just want to sit in fear and be a punk ass bitch and let people continue to walk over you. Do that. But don't try to convince the people, you know, that want to fight, oh, this is just the world. It is what it is. You know, the white people have instilled too much foundation in this world and made it what it is. But when we all understand that the world is the way it is now, because people are resisting, then maybe we can all start to resist.
The imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourself.
Aye. I'm happy that there's Russia, there's China, there's North Korea. All these empty threats. It's funny that a nation that is so pro-democracy is boldly now sending one of its own to show how imperialistic she is. Like, it's the identity crisis that surprises me sometimes. But I'm happy that Americans at least now know what's going on. If it were when the mainstream media controlled what, you know, was put out there, people wouldn't have known these things. But for a country that ousted Gaddafi, who was doing well for his people, and then eliminated Patrice Lumumba, who was doing well for his people, somehow the people don't know how to govern themselves. This is why I've taken my time to educate the world and people who are in my audience and Africans about the fact that the problem with Africa is the system, not necessarily the leaders. The corrupt imperial systems that set them up, that back corruption. They're the ones that back corruption up. They back them up. Anyways, like I said, thankfully there's Russia, there's China, there's North Korea. So, did France and US not recently threaten Niger Republic? What happened? All these empty threats. One thing the US does not understand is that its military is filled with foreigners. Anyway, no further comments. Recolonize Africa. Okay.
And it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say,
this is why Africa needs to come together. Okay? They are very capable of governing themselves. And if they do to you all what you've done to them, watch out. Okay?
then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say,
this whole conversation about them trying to recolonize Africa, it gets a bit tiring because it gives the illusion that Africa is free and Africans are independent, and since they've been free and independent, they haven't been able to do nothing for themselves and their economy has just been bad. So now the West has to come in and help us again. When Africa was, before you guys ever came to invade us or colonize us, Africans were living good, were living better off than now. Secondly, why do you guys act like Africa has been freed when you control the politicians, when you control the trading by aid? Like, there's so many things that goes under the scene that people don't know. The Western world still has a huge control over Africa, so we've never been free from colonization. Since you guys have been helping us, how have we been better?
Those countries, if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough, we're done being invaded.
This has to be a joke. Because, you know, I bet they could govern themselves if all the Western countries would stop bleeding them dry of all their resources. I bet you they could govern themselves if Western countries would stop killing the leaders that actually care for the people and start placing in dictators. I bet they'd be able to govern themselves if America stopped funding. Well, I'm not even sure if it's American, but I know it's Western countries. If they stop funding the rebels that are terrorizing the South Africa. It's hard to govern yourself when you have a foot on your neck. Because if we're so smart, riddle me this. Why is the country that is the richest in everything else, like when it comes to mining, it's the richest in all the minerals and metals and things that we need, but they're the poorest country? I'm going to call a spade here, and history proves this, right? Whenever a country is natively brown, the Western world doesn't see them as equal enough to trade with them, so they do it by force. And if you don't just sit down and take it, they'll send in an operation to kill your leader, and they will place a leader that they can influence in there. And it's always all about money and what they can get. Hence, that's why the leader of Blackwater is saying it. If you don't know what Blackwater is, just one Google search. They control so much. They got so much money.
Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes.
Something that I wish the people in the United States would understand, and this is no hate to the creator of that video. I think they did great by putting it out there and showing it to everybody. But one of the things that I wish Americans would understand is that the United States government never stopped the practice of colonialism and never stopped being an empire. I am from the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. It's really a colony of the United States. Other people like to call it a territory, but if you look at the definition of territory and you look at the definition of colony, you will see that it's basically the same thing. The first 50 years, Puerto Rico was under a military dictatorship where any governor that will come up will be appointed by the U.S. government. After that, they put a puppet government in place that only watched out for the interests of the United States, and is still like that to this day. What the colonizer is doing is just saying out loud what the U.S. government has been doing since its fucking inception. Practice of colonialism never stopped.
Say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens.
Two things can be true at once. Absolutely. There are corrupt politicians globally, very specifically in Africa. And this is for the African continent to contend with, not you. You are not the authority. But anyways, the corruption directly benefits the West. You know why? Because the countries like the United States, Israel, France, the colonizing countries basically, support that instability and corruption to the point that the leaders in those countries benefit, but not the citizens of Africa. Exactly. Yeah, I would absolutely agree. But I want you to very, very, very specifically address who benefits. It's not just the corrupt politicians that benefit from being corrupt. They're corrupt for a reason. It's because they err on the side of the West instead of their citizens. But anyways, it makes you feel sanctimonious, I guess. This is a perfect description of the white savior complex right here. You just said you want to put your imperialism and colonialism hat back on, like you are some source of morality or authority for the world. And you needed to do it and say it that way because it made you feel justified in being in perceiving yourself as superior. You have to make it sound like these people are so degenerate. The actuality is you're a direct benefit of that corruption. So you are the absolute last person to speak on it. It makes you feel sanctimonious to speak on it because you actually create the problem and then you call yourself fixing the problem by helping the degenerates by applying your imperial and your colonialism hat. This ain't 1500s no more, honey. This not 1492. This not 1365. This not none of that. This is not that. The time period of white men leading the world or Western men thinking that they are the global authority, that has to stop. It doesn't work well. And the reason why it has to stop now specifically is because in the past, no one paid any attention to it. It was just the normal. But I think there's been a elevated vibration globally. And I think that people are evolving and they can see things for what they are. And you can't be the savior and the devil. You can't be both. I'm going to need you to pick. I'm talking from both sides of your face right now. I just want to make sure. This is a Grandma Water Day, so this is just a rant. But I'm listening to this dude, and I'm like, you got gazillions of dollars, and you sitting up there. Child, boy, bye. We see you. Y'all ain't saviors by any stretch. You just have a complex. Like Gypsy Rose Mama had a complex. Same. But it's just on a gigantic level. Gross. Somebody is going to say the West doesn't benefit. The West doesn't benefit at all from, being corrupt. I need to be specific because some people don't see big pictures, but the West benefits from the African leaders being corrupt because they can deplete the resources. The situations that are happening in Sudan and Congo, I'm sorry, I don't know very much about Sudan, so I'm not going to speak on that, and I apologize. I meant no disrespect. But specifically the Congo, and we've been learning about so many other countries that are directly benefiting from the West taking advantage of and exploiting the continent. That's what I mean by corruption. Somebody's going to need that clarification. I'm finna drink the rest of my grandma water.
About pretty much all of Africa, they're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens.
You see what the fuck I'm talking about? This the same shit that happened with the Oklahoma bombing. It's the same shit that happened when they tore down Black Wall Street. This the same shit that they've been doing. They'll come and destroy our economy. They'll come and destroy everything that we built. Then they'll tell the world that we incapable of running ourselves, and then implant themselves on our side of history just to keep on robbing us, bro. You really think that shit is about national security? Bitch, if it was about national security, as a Texan, we wouldn't have the issues that we got, because Mexico ain't the problem. Mexico ain't the problem. It ain't the problem. So we wouldn't be having border problems if national security was the problem. How the fuck we still having invasion issues after 9/11? And I got my own thoughts on that shit. I'm pretty sure we all do. But this what the fuck we be saying. So when y'all be telling black people to shut up and try, bitch, we do. What the fuck? Fuck all that motherfucking shit, bro. That's why I say, man, we need to go ahead and come together, bro. Another black revolution coming. And this shit come out on Black History Month. On Black History Month, we got all these niggas out here drilling. We got these motherfucking women talking about they hood bitches, acting like niggas. No, man, no. We gonna leave y'all in America, and we gonna go ahead and figure something else out, because this shit ain't it, bro. So we gotta stop letting them types.
So this is all I got from this video, and the fact that everybody is jumping out to talk whatever they feel like it's Black History Month, but they still do not want to rest. They still have opinion. We understand that they have opinion, but what they are talking is actually balderdash. Now look at this man saying that it is time they will come back to colonize Africans because their leaders are not doing anything, as if they ever left the leaders alone to do something. I know that they keep saying that it's been long that all the colonization happened and all that, but they never left. They are still very much alive, or around in everything going on. Why they benefit so much from the corrupt African governments? Because I keep saying this, not until Africans decide to wake up and stand up against the Westerners, not until then, we won't be talking African is all the minerals and all. Like I keep saying, since Africans met them, where are they? We are still in the same place, like running circle. Like everything they are today is Africans that made them, that all of them. Majority of them are surviving off Africa. Some of them, that's why you see them bubbling and all that. I really feel so sad that African governments, are not even standing up for us. Because if they are standing up for us, I think a lot of things won't be happening. I think nobody will wake up to say they want to come back to And number one is that they are going to make it look like they want to save us. Because from what he's trying to, they want to save us. Why? They are the ones plotting everything that has been going around. Look at what is happening in Congo. If you look around what is going on in Congo, you find out that the people that started all that are the Westerners, Israel, United States, the British, and and some other countries too. They are the number one reason why all this going, the genocide and all that happening in Congo is happening. The mining of the cobalt, so they are the reason why those things are happening. Like in in most of African countries, but they are gonna turn around. When they turn around and come around and tell you that it looks like you people are not getting it right, and you guys are invading us. If we are invading you people, we are coming back to take most of the things you all have stolen, because since we met you, we are selling the same place. What have we done? Like, you all, did you people really leave? They did not leave, not even for a minute. So they are still all in African countries. And I really am so proud of Niger, how they kicked out France and some other countries, how they kicked them all out. Because, you can imagine a country that has been ripping off Niger for how many years? For the rest, like all their lives, that they have been really doing that, and still doing that. And they still, it's really amazing how they kick them out. And now, from what I have been hearing, I learned that this country is going to be like in a few years' time, one of the most, fast growing countries in Africa. So a very big shout out to them for being really super strong and smart enough to know that they do not need France anymore, because France has really ripped them off. You can imagine all the money coming out from your countries, and you see all of them living. I think the only better thing is that they know that when they're still from Africa, they go back to their countries and they use the money and they put it in there are some things working, but in our own, nothing is working out. There is no electricity, constant electricity connection is very bad. The roads are very bad and all that. Why our own people are the ones selling us out. Not until Africans decide to wake up. If you decide not to wake up, it means it's really going to be very hard. Not until we start having governments that are against the Westerners, that are not going to work with the Westerners. Not until then, we are not ready to talk it out. But for this man to come out here, I'm really be very proud to say this. I see how you all are so pressed to come back to because I hear and I see some things going that in years to come, that there is possibility that some Western countries might come back again in Africa to continue from where they stop. That really sucks that they are thinking that. I am really sorry. There are so many things going around, probably in the background and all that. I am somewhere, and sometimes the place is not so quiet, and I had to still record, So yeah, thank you all for all the love and support. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.